Hey guys, welcome to Just Okay Wargamers. It's a new kind of venture that I'm going in. Just going to be making a bunch of different videos on a variety of topics around wargaming. So hopefully I'll do some battle reports. I'll be looking at a variety of different rules, fantasy and historical rules, as well as hopefully doing some painting tutorials or some terrain making tutorials. And for today, I'll keep it relatively quick and simple for my first video. I'm just going to be looking at a whole bunch of different battle mats that I've made and just kind of talking through the process I went to make those. So I'm looking at two different materials. So these ones here are a fake fur material, and then I've got two kind of polyester just blankets. And the faux fur one is a slightly more expensive one, looks really effective, and the kind of polyester blankets are really, really cheap, and I think still look quite good as well. So let's have a little close-up of the faux fur sheets to start with. So these are the two different mats I've made from the fake fur. They're both the same material. And it costs roughly probably like $30 to $35 for each of the mats, and I got about each mat is 5 foot by 7 foot, so you have a bit of extra playing space if you're going to be making it for like a 6 by 4 foot table that a lot of people play with. The big differences is this mat here has the fur kept relatively long, so I just shaped it down just a little bit. This mat here I used when I used a shaver that you would use if you were shaving your head. I put it on the lowest setting possible, right? So this has been shaved right down, and then I actually got a pair of scissors and I cut through it as much as I could to make it really, really short. It took a little bit of time to do that. It took much longer to actually just shave this down a little bit because I was using a larger setting on the head shaver contraption, and so that just kept getting clogged up, and I had to take it off constantly to get rid of all the fur. The painting technique for this was the one which I saw on the internet a lot, where you would brush paint on with a paintbrush, and then you get a comb that you use for your hair, and you'd comb the paint through the fur, and I think it was quite effective. You get like a nice effect to the whole mat, and this is kind of like a light olive green. Okay, the fur is quite long, and that seems to be okay for some models. Other models you will find, especially when the fur's stood up, they'll tend to fall over, and then if you're using, say, trays, so there's a Panzer 38. There are some American War of Independence, and you can see the trays probably don't stand up perfectly. And when you go to kind of pick the trays up, sometimes you pick the mat up as well. And there's an Age of Sigmar model as well for that one. This mat was much quicker to do, and I think it turned out a little bit more effective. Here I used spray cans. So instead of spending most of my day putting paint on this took about a full day to make. This one took just over an hour to shave the whole thing down, and then maybe 6 minutes just with some old green spray cans. And I just sprayed the darker colour on first, and then some smaller spots of a medium colour, and then just a couple of spots where I did a slightly lighter colour. And I think overall it was quicker and more effective, and I think having the shorter fur makes it a lot easier to pick these models up and move them. The single models stand up easier on it, and I think also maybe it's slightly more realistic as well than having this really, really tall fur. So there's two different mats using the same fake fur. You can comb the paint through, which is quite time consuming. If I was to make multiple of these mats, or if I was starting from scratch, I'd always go for this kind of rattle can version. Really simple, straightforward, relatively cheap compared to buying a battle mat, looking at half the price. And I think this looks, in my opinion, looks better than a lot of the battle mats, which you can buy online. So next up, we'll have a look at the much cheaper mats that I've made just using essentially old bed sheets. So next up, these are my two polyester blankets that I have. Both of these were $4 each from a secondhand store. This was originally like a light brown blanket, and this was originally a light grey blanket. The method to get the mats to look like this is super straightforward, and that's why I really like it. I just laid the mat out in an open space outside and used my old rattle cans that were running low on paint and weren't going to be good for my models anymore. So this one's just a dark green, a lighter green, and a bit of a brown. And this one was a white colour, black, and then also a little bit of that brown painted on. So all up, these mats maybe took me 3 minutes each to do. And then once they had aired out and dried and they were no longer smelling like spray paint, they were ready to go. So this method is really good if you're, say, just getting into wargaming, or you have a tight budget. It's just a few dollars and you get yourself a battle mat that I think looks relatively nice, especially for how much you're paying for it. And both of these mats are large, so they're 8 foot by 6 foot mats. So you have excess mat to play with if you want to play rather a bigger game, or if you wanted to put things underneath the mat to give that illusion of like hills or slopes or something like that. So yeah, if you're getting into wargaming and you don't want to go out and fork out, $110 on buying one of those nice looking mouse pad mats, something like this I think is a really good alternative. And I personally prefer these over those mouse pad mats. I think these just have like a little bit of texture to them, and I can make them the color that I desire as well. So just a little close up, you can see using them with movement trays won't be an issue. They'll move along the mat real easy. You're not going to get like the fake grass getting in the way. So really good if you're playing those games where that might be an issue. Say if you're playing like a old Warhammer game or the 9th Age, something like that, then these mats will be perfect for that. Well, that's it for today. I thought I'd just keep the video nice and short. Hope that you enjoyed it. Hope that it was somewhat informative. But yeah, just want to show you that you don't need to go out and fork out hundreds of dollars to get nice looking battle mats. You can do it yourself. These ones here, $4 or $5 each to make. The faux fur ones, which I think look really effective, looking at a little bit more expensive, but both of those mats together would still be cheaper than going out and buying myself a 6 by 4 foot battle mat from any other company. So hopefully you get something out of it. If you have any feedback for me, or you have anything you want to say, just leave it in the comment section. And hopefully we'll be back soon, hoping to do a battle report of some description.